People have been worried about the way the renminbi's been going, maybe a one-off, and yet another big one-off devaluation on the cards. One, and also two, with the amount of debt that they've got over there, a possible credit event. But you don't think either of these is a major risk next year?
No, I think there's going to be problems next year, mostly in the form of ongoing weak macroeconomic performance. But I don't see an acute risk. If you talk about debt, the China Beige Book survey, it's 3,300 firms. We see weak cash flow. So we see a debt problem. We see it on a quarterly basis. But China's banks are not banks. Its financial system is not commercial. You can't talk about Chinese banks and Chinese firms as if they're like the U.S. before Lehman. That just doesn't make sense. On the renminbi, you never know what policymakers are going to do, but China still runs the biggest trade surplus in the world. A one-off devaluation isn't going to help. It's going to spur capital outflow. It's going to provoke China's partners. So they could do it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Ah, okay. Frank, come in on this.
Derek, help us with the theme we were talking about earlier relative to the price of oil. If we do, in fact, see these production cuts take place, what does that mean for the economic expansion in China? Will it continue, or will we see a continued slowdown?
Well, I think what people are focusing on right now with regard to oil is you've seen a return of producer inflation after years of producer deflation, which was scaring everyone. Now, it's hard to really imagine that oil prices are ever good for a big oil importer like China. If the increases in oil stay moderate, though, I think it's positive for sentiment. It's scary. It's producer inflation of 3 to 4% isn't necessarily great, but it's much less scary than sustained producer deflation. So as long as the oil prices remain moderate, I don't think that's what gets in the way of Chinese economic activity next year.